Okay, in several performances with the Black Rep, I've seen her dozens of times. She's hilarious and very talented. And Miss Tasia Isidore Silas, also very accomplished. Okay. All right. So let's start with our story. You may feel free to continue to eat. Thank you, Mr. Jeremy.
How y'all doing? My name's Jeremy. I'm a recovering addict. I'm 54 years old. I was born August 23rd, 1971 in St. Louis, Missouri. By 1985, I guess I turned 14, and I guess when I was 12 years old, my mother got in a relationship, and she was in like one of the first biracial relationships in South St. Louis. She married a black guy by the name of Herb, and it was really rough in South St. Louis back then. South St. Louis was really polarized. It wasn't like it is nowadays, you know. South St. Louis back in the 70s, early 80s, was, you had the South Side, you had the North Side. Well, my mom married a black dude from Alton, Illinois, and I started hanging out in North St. Louis. I started hanging out over Walnut Park, Garrishy, Mimica, Harney, Park Lane, over in that area. By 1985, 1986, I got introduced to crack cocaine. I started doing crack cocaine with my family, with my mom, with my stepdad. By 1988, I was at the Walls. I was in Jeff City. I was in H Hall, and I was doing a 15-year prison sentence. I did from the ages of 18 to 27 incarcerated. And I got out, I didn't learn anything. I started doing drugs again. My mother wasn't clean, my stepdad wasn't clean. I didn't try to stay clean. I ended up doing 11 more years in the feds for bank robbery. I did 24 years total. I've been home for 10 years. I got out of prison January 9th of 2015, and I started using drugs again. I started doing drugs because it was my go-to. It was what I knew about. It was what I was familiar with. It was what everybody else was doing. Everybody I knew was either OD, gone, or in prison. So I was doing drugs again. And I didn't let my full potential reach itself until just recently. In the last year, I got myself together. I got clean. I got my girlfriend here with me today. I celebrate 1 year coming up here. Yeah, in a month and a half, I'll be 1 year clean. I've tried recovery before. You know, I was clean for about 18 months before that. But it didn't work. I relapsed because I wasn't working a program. I was abstinent, I was staying away from it, but I put myself back in the environment while I was around it. And you know as well as I do, you gotta change the people, the places, the things, and everything that you're doing in order to succeed. Well, this time I did things different. I stopped going to the same places, I stopped being around the same people, I changed my program up, and I started doing better. And in the last 10 months, this is where the success story comes in. I stay accountable every day. My girlfriend was getting ready to leave me. She's like, I don't know if I can trust you anymore. I was around you every day. You weren't telling me. I couldn't tell that you were using. I said, here's what I'll do. I'll start doing drug tests every day if you want, and I'll stay accountable. I want to be presentable and accountable in every aspect. And so we started doing that. And I started buying cases of drug tests. Anytime my girlfriend wanted to do a drug test, I was right there to do one. I'll do one right now, you know, and just to keep my woman, to keep my life together, because that's how much it means. And in the interim, since I got myself together and got off the hard drugs, I've been able to start a business. I started a radio station. I started an independent radio station, and we have a website and a super app now where we are going to be mentoring children of addiction and youngsters that have drug issues to learn how to make music, learn how to produce and engineer and make beats, and do it. It's a country rap station is what it is. When we went country and rock and roll and hip hop, because I grew up on hip hop, I grew up breakdancing and rapping on the roll call show back in the 80s with Dr. Jockenstein. You know what I'm saying? Everybody remembers Dr. Jockenstein. You know, the Godfather, hey, said, what's that name? Well, my name is J.W. Jockenstein. Yeah, I used to get on the roll call show all the time, man. Had Jockenstein prior to mine. But a couple months ago, I went to Hogan Street, and Jennifer and them allowed me to speak to some juveniles there. And it felt really good being able to connect with some kids in a positive manner, because my life has been so negative. You know, I mean, I grew up in prison. I'm 54 years old, and 24 years of my life has been spent incarcerated. And to come home and to go to these kids and talk to them and let them know that you don't have to do this for your whole life. I did it for my whole life, just to let you know that you can get out of Hogan Street go get a little job and start doing it right, and not walk in the footsteps of your parents or the people that you're around that are doing drugs. I followed my mother's footsteps. She was doing drugs, I became a drug addict. You know, now I'm trying to offer avenues to where kids can learn music, get in the studio, learn how to draw, learn how to do videos, and do something other than following the footsteps of their parents and the people that they look up to. Because I can say today, by the grace of God, I'm clean. And I hope y'all have a nice day.
Oh, it was wonderful when he came to speak to the youth. He was rapping, they were in it, they loved it. I've never seen it like that. We've also had Mr. Brian, who's come to speak to our youth at the Making My program. Let's give it up for him. Okay? We have our volunteers today. Let's give it up for them. Raise your hand.
Peace.